Welcome to a very special episode of the Real State of Real Estate Go Exponential with Sam. This episode is particularly meaningful for me because this is the month of International Women's Day. And today is also the World Realtor Day, which holds special significance for the real estate profession globally. Over the years, in this industry, I've had the privilege of working with many extraordinary professionals, but I must say the most resilient, empathetic, and determined professionals I've encountered in the real estate industry have been women. Perhaps my own life has shaped that perspective. I grew up surrounded by strong women, and I continue to be surrounded by them. Both of my grandmothers, my mother, my wife, and my two daughters remind me every day of the strength, empathy, and intelligence that women bring to the world. My wife herself spent a substantial part of her life working alongside me in the real estate industry. And she understands this profession as deeply as anyone else could, in the same way that men perhaps may be better chefs. But behind that joke lies something very real. Real estate is ultimately a profession built on trust, patience, listening, and empathy. And those are qualities that women often bring to this profession in remarkable ways. Yet, in India, today perhaps only about 1% of realtors are women. And when I travel to Europe or America, I often see 65 to 75% of agents being women. And that contrast always befuddles me. My dream is that one day in India, we will see 50% of the realtors being women, because our industry will become stronger, more ethical, and more empathetic when that happens. And today, we will listen to those journeys. So today's episode brings together women from across the global real estate ecosystem, from leadership roles within international brokerage operations to entrepreneurs and advisors working across Europe, India, Canada, and the United States. Each of them built an inspiring story in this profession. Well, thank you very much, Karlie and Gabby, for being with us at the Real State of Real Estate Go Exponential with Sam. This is season 2, episode 3, and we are dedicating it to women because this is a special month. It's the International Women's Day celebration, which is ongoing for the entire month. We are also celebrating today, 21st of March, as World Realtors Day. I had the honor and privilege of declaring 21st of March as World Realtors Day when I took over as the president of the National Association of Realtors in India way back in 2016, this is the 10th year. And during my inaugural speech, I said we must have pride in our profession, and I declared 21st of March as World Realtors Day. That was one thing. And of course, the other was we started a salutation for all of us, and we said that you have doctors, they write D and a capital D and a small R with a dot, and you have Mr. or Mrs. with an MR or an MS. And I said, why don't we have realtors with a capital R and a small r with a period? And so you would see that most of us in India actually use realtor before our name. Of course, those that have taken the membership of NAR. So this is how the World Realtor Day started, and now a lot of Asia, right from UAE to the Thailand and Malaysia and all of that, has started using Happy World Realtors Day as a greeting on the 21st of March. So with that, Thanks once again for being with us. I would love to understand more about how you, Karlie, let me start with you. How, Karlie, you started the real estate journey. What made you bring yourself to this profession? It's not an obvious profession for most people in the early days of life. And if you can tell me right from the beginning how you started, and of course, then post that, Gabby, if you could also honor us with that, with the same answer or answer to the same question. Sorry.
So I was in banking for about 10 years. I was a personal banker for a while, and then I became an audit manager and then a branch manager after a while. And I went on maternity leave, and um, I realized that when I go back after maternity leave that I was only going to see my baby for about 3 hours a day. And I was like, what is the point in having a child if you only see them for a couple of hours a day?
So true.
So while I was on maternity leave, I got my real estate license. Um, I did like weekend courses to get my real estate license, and then joined a my spouse is also in real estate as well, so joined the team that she was working for and became their listing manager. And I just kind of fell in love with the backside of real estate. Yes, I was a realtor and I showed houses and did all the things. That's not where my love for it fell. I love like the backside of it, love compliance side and all of the listing paperwork and doing all of that piece of it. And then we left there in 2018, I think, and I joined EXP. Um, and I think we were Icon agents. I think like four years in a row. And then I came on as a transaction specialist in the U.S. and have just kind of worked my way up through the ranks on that side. So this year I will have been with EXP for 8 years.
8 years. Yeah.
Yes. And I think I have done almost every position in EXP. I came over to international almost 4 years ago and have loved it ever since. But yeah, I have just worked my ranks up. But I came into real estate just because I wanted more time with my child. I wanted a more flexible schedule.
Fantastic. And of course, you have the advantage of working from home, working from anywhere,
Yes,
and working any hours that you want. So
absolutely.
that's the best part. You can be close to to your children as well as spend time on the profession. And it's I'm sorry, while it takes a lot of hard work, it helps you make a lot of money as well.
It does. Yeah,
And you can steal time for yourself and your family, which is fantastic.
absolutely.
So tell me, Kali, before I move to Gabby, you said you worked for about 4 years, and you were an Icon agent, and then you moved into the operations side, the compliance side, and then transaction specialist, and worked your way up. How is it not being in front of a client now? Those, obviously the first 4 years and the ones before that in the real estate industry were client facing, and now it's well, it's member or agent facing, and it's a lot of back office work. So how do you find, what's the difference, and how do you manage yourself? Do you like what you're doing now, or did you prefer the transaction side of the business?
No, I love what I do now. I think that I still will go show houses occasionally. I showed one last week, and you know, I think it's really good for me to do that because it reminds me of all the things that agents have to go through. And so it keeps my brain like agent focused. And I think that that's what has helped me the most in my position is that is always what my goal is what is going to make agents' jobs the easiest. Because I've been in their shoes, so I know exactly what it feels like. I miss clients. I am a social person, so I do miss that aspect of it. But I love our team that we have here. And so I get just as much joy working with, all of our country leaders and our in country staff and Gabby and, all of our team. So I get so much joy helping agents now on the back end of things and trying to make their lives easier.
As we do with both of you. So absolutely. Thank you. And Gabby, let me ask you this. You're into onboarding. You meet, you probably met agents. The very first person that they interact with is yourself. So what's your story been? What's the backstory, and how are you? How did you evolve into the position you're in?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, Sam, first of all. And I love getting the opportunity to work with Karlie and all you guys as well. I started back in 2019. I got my license as well. I'm no longer focusing on that side of things. I'm more so the operational side, as Karlie had mentioned. And I started with a small boutique brokerage. I live in Central Florida, and I started with a small boutique brokerage running their growth side, their operation side, everything. It was about 80 agents. And when I was doing that, the love that I had of seeing how successful an agent went from being non-productive to being productive and really making sure they got their systems corrected and able to actually, once they have a good operational process, scale their business and even maybe take on like a staff member to be able to help them focus on other things of growth of their business. And that's where I started, was with a really, small, quaint team. And then I did everything from onboarding to transaction management to, the growth side and everything in between, because we were such a small, close-knit team. Fast forward a little, I found EXP, and obviously not so small, right? And I joined and got my foot in the door as an onboarding specialist 4 years ago, and I worked my way up on the domestic side. Had the opportunity to work with the teams department, and really before I came to the international side, I worked with boutique brokerages who were looking to scale their business and come to EXP rather than being independent. And since I worked at a small boutique, I was able to understand the challenges that they went through and really seeing where they wanted to take their business and how they can scale on the model such as EXP. And it was refreshing to know that I was in their position with a small boutique brokerage and able to see, that they were wanting to transition their business to a larger scale platform that they could actually build generational wealth for their family and so forth. So I've been in both positions, which is really, really cool. And then if we rewind maybe about a year and a half ago, I'm about to just hit 2 years coming soon with international. I came over here as the international onboarding manager, and since then have had the pleasure of working with Karlie and everyone such as the country leaders, Felix, and really just hit the ground running with figuring out what we can improve on the onboarding process. And as you said, I started with the agents. I still have agents that I onboarded in the US 4 years ago that have my cell number and call me, as well as any team leaders or brokerages that we transitioned that still have my contact, and even local brokerages that have transitioned over, or team leaders. So it's been nice to see that process of me evolving from a small boutique to EXP. And I fell in love again with the operational side, because I think it's satisfying for me to be able to see somebody who has done zero production to be able to scale their business to whatever they dream of, essentially. So that has been my passion, and I'm excited that I continue to do that. And now I get to do it on an international scale and help you guys. So,
I tell everybody that, I believe in one philosophy. I call it the HIT philosophy, which is the acronym HIT, H-I-T, is honesty, integrity, and transparency. Now, real estate is obviously a profession built on trust. How important are empathy, listening to people, integrity, and of course transparency? in service, in client service, so as to say?
It's everything. It is true what they say. Real estate is a relationship building. If you can't build a relationship, you're not going to be successful in this business. And the aspects of communication and transparency, there will be people that will see completely straight through if you are not transparent, if you're not authentic, and they are everything. So instead of trying to act like something different to see if that will work to get you, transactions or sales, it's better to be yourself, because I always grew up with the aspect of, if you be yourself, your small, close, group of family and friends, that you are who you surround yourself with, right? So
Absolutely.
based upon that, you are who you surround yourself with is, in my eyes, it will translate into your relationships in business as well. And I think that stands alone. So if you're honest, transparent, authentically yourself, the business will come to you, not necessarily you going to outseek the business. People want to be surrounded with those that are transparent. They are themselves. There's no hidden agendas. And those are the people that want to get into business just as much as they want to have a personal relationship with you.
Very true. And Karlie, as I understand, for first-time buyers especially, this is the most important financial decision of their life. They're not veterans, and the funny thing is, their parents may have bought properties 20 years ago, 30 years ago, so they may not be able to give the right advice, not necessarily, at least. Their kids are too young. Their siblings, you may not always get the right advice, because there may be some kind of jealousy in between. Friends, again, you don't know how much you want to share this very intimate decision of buying a home. So this being such an important financial decision, probably the most important decision in your life after marriage, do you think the qualities that we just mentioned, Gabby spoke about, and are these underestimated in this business of real estate?
I think so, especially in the market today. It's hard right now, and I think we have a lot of agents, right? This is really the time where agents show themselves, right? Because it is a hard market, and a lot of their sole financial comes from commission. And my mentor, when I first came in, one of the biggest things that he told me was, when you walk into a house, your goal is to talk the client out of buying the house. Meaning, you want to go in and you want to tell them everything that's wrong with the house.
Beautiful.
Because at the end of the day, if they buy that house, you've already told them everything that's wrong with it, right? So they can't come back and say, oh, this is happening. And that way that's where, for me, I think, and my partner, that a lot of our success has come from, because we are totally honest with them. We walk in the house and we're like, oh, this is terrible, whatever, try to talk them out of it. But it builds so much trust with them. And I think then at the end of the day, they buy a house that they fully know what's wrong with it. They understand everything that they're taking on with it, any challenges, anything like that. And we have built, all of our clients now are all past clients, or sphere of influence. We don't do any we don't try to get clients anymore. So it's all built on the trust and the relationships that we built. And so I think especially the transparency and honesty is such a big part of this job, and making your clients, especially first-time home buyers, feel 100% confident in the choice that they have made. Because this is going to be their home for the next 5, 10, 20 years, however much. So yes, that was my biggest thing, was when I came in, he said, try to talk your clients out of buying the house and you will be successful.
And you'll be successful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So true. So true. How important empathy, honesty, integrity, transparency, and other soft skills were to the business of real estate.
Yeah. soft skills are very important, I think, in any job. And I've noticed, I've learned in my time that for a lot of people, those are not inherently natural for people. A lot of soft skills are skills that you have to work on and learn. Um, and I, so I think, especially for real estate agents, it is very important that they practice those skills outside of working with clients. And I know I hate it. I think it's the most awkward thing ever, but role playing is actually very helpful in these situations. But also, reading books, taking courses, talking to your friends, building those current relationships that you already have around you, and practicing those skills every day are very important, because again, like I have learned, these are not skills that are very natural to people. So practicing those skills is an important thing, and kind of learning to be a little bit of a chameleon with your client. You have to learn the ways that they communicate and that they take feedback, so that you can adapt to their personalities. I think that is a big part of real estate, is learning to be kind of a chameleon.
Adaptability,
Yeah.
absolutely, very true. We often speak about the success of real estate agents, uh, but behind every successful platform, there are very strong operational leaders like yourselves who've actually helped, and you have transitioned from domestic to international. So you obviously have done that for one market, and now you're doing it for the global market. Um, there would be agents that come to you asking for support, and they have different needs, which you find very diverse from country to country, despite your knowledge of the domestic market. And at times, you've got to think outside the box. You've got to, be, uh, you know, changing. You use the word chameleon, but yeah, you're changing thoughts, and you're actually cross pollinating, because you're learning from one and applying it in the other, unlearning from one and applying it in the other. So, tell me some instances on how you did that. What do you do, and where does where does that, let's call it the women impact uh, network, is that right? Win. Where does that win from EXP fall in, and how do you guys, how does it get into your DNA, and how do you help the rest of these individuals?
I'll go ahead and start. So for me, I think the biggest thing is scalability. As you know, we are a global company. So for me, when I think of the strategy long term behind the scenes, it's taking the agent's feedback, taking the staff feedback, and really making sure that when we curate a plan, an operational process for onboarding, offboarding, anything in between, and partnering with Karlie on, during the onboarding process, what that's going to look like for a transaction experience for an agent. It's all about scalability, whether it's local in India or it's one of our other countries that we have. So I think the biggest thing for me is not losing the the human experience as well, and making sure that we consider that the agent at the end of the day needs to be supported all throughout, making sure that they have the resources that they need. But when I step back and look at the strategy long term, I think of how can we make sure that the agent has everything that they need, and it's self-explanatory. So when I think of long term where our future is going, I think of a self-guided experience with the focus on the agent support, because at the end of the day, that is our goal, is to support our agents. They are our clients from an operational perspective, and they are the core of our business. So really making sure that what the agent needs is at the center of everything, and then making sure that that's scalable 10x, and then making sure that there's room for agility in there. So Karlie had mentioned being a chameleon. I think from our side, we are chameleons as well. We have 25 plus countries that we support, and making sure we give the staff the tools in their tool belt to help support the agents on a local basis that is adaptable to India's market, Dubai's market versus Portugal's market. It is something that is very specific, and we need to make sure we can provide that to the staff to provide the support to the agents. So that's what I would say.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Good. And Karlie, what about you?
So Gabby and I work very closely together because we want agents, transition from onboarding into transactions to be very seamless and easy. And I think we meet, weekly basis numerous times, and our goal is to always make the agent's life easier, their process easier, and smoother. And so you will especially notice coming out within the next couple of months a lot of tools that will help enhance the agent's experience with EXP. And we are constantly looking at things, yes, scalability wise, but also country wise. Like, is this process working for India? No, it's not working for India. Okay, how can we adjust this to make this work for them? Or do we need to rebuild something for India to make it work for them? So while, yes, we are a global company and we want scalability and all the things, we also want to make sure that we are tailoring every process to that country. And I think that's, the difference between EXP and a lot of the other countries, a lot of other companies out there, right? Like if they're a global company, it's kind of the same across the board, whereas we really try to focus on each country and what is going to be best for them. And, same with like some of the Gabby's building a platform, I'm building a platform that is very tailored to each country's needs. And I look at it from the agent perspective. As an agent, what would I want in a transaction management platform? And then of course we work with the countries to say, okay, here's kind of our basis. What does India need to make this platform, top grade for the agents? Yeah.
Absolutely. Gabby and Karlie, if you had to give one piece of advice each to women in India who are either not in real estate or they're in real estate and not at EXP, or in fact, they are EXP agents, what is that one thing that you think they should know from your experiences cross-pollinating ideas across the globe? If you could share that with us, I'd be greatly obliged. The one message as well.
I could start. Ask for what you want and be specific about it. Whether it's a leadership role, a referral, or a partner you want to work with, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And again, be specific about it. I think that is hard for women to just say what we want and not kind of tiptoe around it. It's okay to make people uncomfortable in your asks, but stand up for yourself and ask for it.
And be ready to hear a yes, but also be ready to hear a no if God forbid
Absolutely, yeah.
if you can't get that. Yeah.
100.
Very true.
I think the biggest thing for me is really simple, is not letting anybody else define my capabilities and my future. So the biggest advice I would give to any women, especially, in India and women in general, is you're in control, and you're the one that controls where you're going. Whether you get a no or you get a yes, every single one of those is an opportunity. And I think the biggest obstacle that women face is that we have a tendency of standing in our ways, in our way in ourselves. So you are the person standing in your own way. So if you were to just step aside and allow yourself to kind of develop into that next chapter of what you're meant to be, allow it to happen and go full force into that, put your foot on the gas and really lean into it. Because at the end of the day, you are, you're your biggest critic, and really make sure that you don't get in your head and don't let that imposter syndrome take over. Really just lean into it, and you got it. So just keep pushing forward.
Fantastic. You're a biggest critic, but you should also be your biggest admirer.
Yes.
Believe in yourself,
Yeah.
and you should know, everybody knows you can do it. You should know also that you can do it.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lovely words of wisdom. Um, I'm sure everybody on the show today is loving hearing what you're saying. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you, Sam, for having
Thank
us.
you.
Have a great day.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
guys take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Karlie, Gabby, Lisa, it's wonderful once again. Wonderful having you with us in the month of the International Women's Day, and also on the day which is very special to realtors, which is World Realtors Day. We celebrate World Realtors Day on the 21st of March today. So I have a question which is, which mixes sort of both these things. So I understand, Lisa, that you are a, a representative, one of the few representatives of Women Impact Network at EXP in Europe. And I'd love you to share what this is all about, and especially in the context of women empowerment, women getting into the real estate industry. So, women and realtors, we're talking about both of them. And I'd love for my Indian audience, of course, and the rest of the world to know more about WIN. Over to you.
Well, that's the one interesting thing with EXP. They have one EXP that literally supports all the different groups. So WIN falls under the one umbrella, which is the Women Impact Network. And of course, when they were looking for women to help, I'm the first. I want to jump in. We're in a very male-dominated world. I was the first female team leader in Portugal, which back then, it was kind of like everyone's like, first, you're a foreigner. Second, you're a woman. There's no way you're going to make it work. So I was kind of on the back burner for a while. Like a lot of people didn't give me the time of day until I proved myself. I have the biggest team in Portugal. We cover the whole of Portugal. We have 15 agents. I've got 4 signing up at the moment to join the team. I have other agents wanting to join the team all the time. But the point is, women often feel that they can't step up, that they can't be more than they are in a world. They like, a lot of them are followers. If you are that one person where you're tired of following, step up. Like this world, there's so much. I always say to everyone that joins EXP, I'm like, your limit with EXP is you. You need to think
Brilliant.
bigger than you've ever thought before.
So wonderful. So wonderful. What a strong, empowering statement for all the women. Beautiful. So tell me, you've had quite a journey actually. You've been, you said you're from South Africa. I know you've been, to all parts of Europe, and then finally landed in Portugal. And you've been in everything sales related, but not necessarily real estate, and then finally in real estate. Tell us your journey from South Africa to Portugal.
Well, growing up in South Africa is interesting because what a lot of people don't know, there is no plan B. If you don't work, you don't get paid. So I started working from 14. I was always that child who, give me a week, I'll be the manager. I'll show you how to do things. Left school, joined finance, was in the banking world. And then I joined the real estate industry. At 22, I was one of the youngest production managers, running big film productions around the world. Got headhunted to go to the UK, which I moved in 2002, I think. I'm giving my age away here. Moved to the UK, and where I had 32 film crew in 9 countries simultaneously. So then when I moved from that, I moved to Ireland, started a South African shop. Why not figure out import-export? Then got tired of being wet and cold, so moved to Portugal. And 10 years later, stumbled into real estate, joined EXP, and now have a team that covers the whole of Portugal. But the fun part is, because we've all done the relocation. We've all moved. So I run the biggest expat team. So we help with the whole relocation process. We do the visas, we do the mortgages, we do the currency exchange. Whatever the clients need, we're there to hold their hand every step. Because I've done it 4 times, it's very stressful. So we hold their hands.
Lisa, and we have Rita now. Rita, firstly, congratulations. I heard from a colleague of yours that you're into some royal family. You've done some great stuff. So tell us about it, if you think it can go on air.
Well, I was selling a palace in Príncipe Real in the town center in Lisbon, and in fact, when the first time that I went to the showing to meet with them, I didn't know the story of the family. Okay, so when I saw those pictures, with as we see in the museums, and then they just pointed and said, well, it was my aunt, or that was my father, and all of them. It was really amazing, the story that they have behind. Not only that's why I love so much this work, because we know lovely people, amazing people, and that they are so simple, that they welcome us so well, and they are just like us. They are not
Fantastic.
the blue blood,
The blue blood.
the blue
Absolutely.
blood. It's not blue, it's red.
As long as the money was green, the blue blood is fine. So I'm sure you made a lot of money. Congratulations, on this big sale. So the real estate profession today is increasingly global, and I know that both of you are global. Clients move across countries, they invest internationally, and build lives in multiple places. So tell me a little bit about 3 facets of the industry. One is the relocation market. The second is the international buyers that come in and want to buy into Portugal because you've got some special visa and other benefits. And of course, people who want to upscale, upgrade, in terms of lifestyle migration. They want to come into a better place, beaches, hillsides, palaces, Rita. So tell me a little bit, this question is to both of you, so feel free. Maybe Lisa, you want to start first, and then we'll give it to Rita.
Yeah, sure. So you've just described my team's what we do, relocation. So we do everything from, if it's a family home relocating, if it's a ultra, high net worth client. We've got a few NDAs signed of sales that I've done in my team, which is fun. So we do have lots of people relocating, and it's like, are they investing? So we have our buyers profiles where I always say our buyers wear many hats. Their forever home, their investment, their future, what country, because we also put multiple different countries. I have clients that go, I can't decide between Spain, Portugal, France, and that's the joy of EXP. So we create that profile with all the different countries, giving them the pros and the cons, along with the visas, along with the difficulties of living there, moving there. I always say to my clients, the property is the last part. What is your must-haves? What are your needs? What does your everyday life look like? And if it's investments, what's your ROI? Let's take the emotion out of it. Let's find you the top ROI. And what is that for? So we deal with, a lot of our clients have never even been to Portugal. So they buy the property, we rent it out, and we get them the ROI they want. So it is phenomenal. We have lawyers that do all the visas. We've got funds that do the golden visa. So that's why our team holds everyone, and we cover the whole of Portugal. So we hold a hand from the Algarve to the top of the south, from the Silver Coast to the Spanish border. And we got agents in Spain. So it's fun that we can help them across borders too.
Brilliant. Thanks. Wonderful to hear that. Rita, what about you?
Well, as I live in Lisbon, so I'm most focused in my town. So I have a small team now because I have big teams. When I worked at Deloitte, and it was about 100 people or more. So it
Brilliant.
trained me to help in this case help the consultants and help the agents to be not only around the country, because now we have people that work more at countryside, like the farms in Douro, in that area in Porto, with the vineyards. And so I prefer to have people more specialized in different areas. Now, as in hotels, in commercial, I'm doing some business in this area with
Brilliant.
yeah. And maybe because of that, because of my past, and because I always worked with colleagues from other firms, and they are still my friends, because it was my first job when I started with 21. So now the partners are leaving from Deloitte, and so now they are my investors, my clients, also my investors. But of course that
Fantastic.
we have other clients, of
Excellent.
course. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, you mentioned 21. So, what if a young 21-year-old woman was watching this episode today and she wanted to enter into real estate? What would you want her to know, Rita?
When I started as a realtor, I was about 30 years old, more or less. And in that time, because I was leaving a big firm as a financial director, and so all of my friends told me that I was crazy. Oh my God, how are you, what are you doing? And it was difficult to me to show them that I love my job, and this is not easy. It's not easy, but
Of course.
to my kids, they are 25 and 26, as you are asking for a young woman or a young man. I think it's a very good opportunity, because young people doesn't stop nowadays. They are always wanting to do different things, and their speed is amazing. And so in our area, we don't have the routine tasks, so we know different people, and we have the power of we decide to if you want to work more or less, and because it's not obligated that people should work 24 hours a day. But so we decide what it's our and where to live, because it's global. You can work in other, sorry, you can work in other countries or other cities. As myself, I bought an home near Lisa, I believe, in the center of Portugal, because my husband his family is from there, from Aveiro. Aveiro, it's the little Venice from Portugal, little Venice,
Wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, and
Brilliant.
so I can work from there. So it's a good option to work in this area.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, Lisa, one final question from you. You've been, you've traveled the world. You have, moved from, like I said, right from South Africa to Portugal and so many other countries in between. What would you tell a young woman who wants to join this profession, how should she, what should her outlook be to the world, to the profession, and how does she gain confidence in today's unpredictable life and fast moving lifestyle?
Yeah, so my advice would be it's not an easy industry because you're commission based. Find a good sponsor, find a good mentor, have a backup plan. When I started in real estate, I was teaching English online, hated every minute of it, but I was paying the bills because commission, when you're waiting for that check to come in, you need to sustain yourself. So my biggest thing is you got to be strong emotionally, because you can't take it personally when clients have a go at you. So my biggest thing with my team is I always do check-ins. It's kind of like you have to control your emotions. You got to control the emotions of the seller, of the buyer. So my biggest thing is get to know yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. Find your own niche. Be who you are. Stay in your lane. It's not a competition with other people. Women are there to support each other. So find your tribe that is going to help you to grow and thrive. But
Beautiful.
always know that you need a backup plan, because if those checks don't come in, I've supported myself since I was 14. So there is no plan B. It's kind of like, I need to pay the bills.
Yeah, the plan B is to be.
Right?
You have to stay in existence.
Exactly. So, but also to scale, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have discipline. So you can't just go into it and go, oh, we're in a virtual environment, so we don't have to go to the office. If you're not planning for your future, if you don't have the goals, your blows are aimless. So you're wasting time and energy. So it goes back to that support with your tribe, with your mentor. Look for people that are going to lift you up and support you and give you the good advice. Not just start and think everything's going to be great.
Brilliant. Well, lovely words of wisdom. Thank you very much. Thank you, Meena. Thank you, Sonia, for being with us on this very special day. Today is World Realtors Day, 21st of March, and we are, of course, celebrating the month of International Women's Day. So, a double whammy, great episode to have women realtors with us, both from North America. Sonia from Canada and Meena from the US. Why don't you give a short introduction of yourself? Maybe Sonia, your volume's on, so why don't you start?
Sure. I'll just first of all thank you so much for inviting me into this interesting discussion and giving my 2 cents. So I have been in Canada for last 26 years, but the first 20 of my life in Canada was into IT. I served for companies like IBM, AT&T, etc. But then there came a time when I wanted to dive into entrepreneurship, and real estate seemed like the perfect fit for me. Not only it gave me an opportunity to do great business, but also it allowed me to come from the place of service and be able to contribute substantially into one of the biggest decisions that people make in their life, of owning a property. So it just gives me a full-on satisfaction in terms of how I get paid, as well as the satisfaction of helping people with a major decision in their life. So I've been into real estate for last 6 years now. Started from a boutique brokerage, moved on to Royal LePage, and then on to EXP, widening my horizons worldwide. And I'm just loving the ride so far.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Over to you, Meena.
Absolutely. I'm Meena Sharma. I'm honored, one, because I get to do a podcast with another Sharma, which I know is very common for Indians, but it's truly an honor to be able to talk about being Indian, my heritage, and doing it in real estate. And I love that. So thank you, Sam, for creating that opportunity, and for Sonia for being here. I'm born and raised in the United States. I am Punjabi by heritage, and I went to school for accounting and tax. I didn't start off in real estate, definitely not the path that I think my parents thought either. We have a few lanes we're allowed to deviate into. I was not an engineer, both my brothers fulfilled that, thankfully. But I did go to accounting, and then I got my master's in tax, so I think I course corrected appropriately. And I had a corporate career in financial services, product management, and portfolio management for about 10 years before shifting into real estate. I did start with Coldwell Banker, and then I switched to EXP, and I'm what we call a boomerang agent. So somewhere in between the last 4.5 years, I did leave to another brokerage, and then I came right back because I realized what I had left and what I wanted to be in, and the community that EXP has to offer. So as much as my colleagues joke about it, it truly is you know what, I like here, I like what we're building, I like what this organization is doing. So I'm excited to be back now for 3 years. I have no plans of leaving, and I'm really glad that I made that decision to come back and to stay and grow here. So I'm super honored to talk about all the things we're going to talk about today.
Fantastic. Good to know you're back and you've been here for 3 years, back again for 3 years, and hopefully it's for life. Well, the North American market is one of the, most mature real estate markets that there are in the entire world in terms of real estate. I've seen a lot of markets across the globe trying to level up to the professionalism that the North American market has to offer. Keeping that in mind, I see that real estate is truly a profession. We are also going in that direction, incidentally. It is an advisory-driven brokerage rather than, a transaction where you're only introducing one person to the other or referring business to another and then sitting back. Clients value your advice. Client relationship is very important. What are you doing, and what would your advice be? Both of you, this, one by one. What would your advice be to Indians back home in India who are stepping in, women who are stepping into the real estate industry, or those who have been there for a while but now want to up their game? What is your piece of advice for them to grow their business and actually to make great careers in real estate? Meena, you want to go first?
I was like, can I take this one? Thank you. So one thing I forgot to mention is I am sitting in the commercial side. I did residential for 5 years, so I get to see both. But one thing that I would say as you embark on this journey, I'm a fundamental believer, and I credit my mom for this, is women solve problems. And in real estate, whether you're looking to purchase something, sometimes there's a hesitation, whatever that looks like, you're advising, you're guiding people. And I believe that women solve problems. We will figure out a solution. I think in India, they call it a jugaad. So this will relevate to, you figure it out. So I grew up with good Punjabi, so I can throw in a few things there. But with that problem-solving mindset, and you do it with honesty, I learned as an adult that my values as an adult, as a professional, actually come from how Indians are raised at home. And so those are your standout features, and sometimes as you're assimilating, whether you're out of India or in India, you try to adjust to what the world wants you to, and that's fine. But who we are, how we were raised, the principles that we were taught, bring that into the workspace as your full self, and that is a key to success. I think for me, accepting that I was the way that I was, the quirks, whatever it was, is my value add and asset, and I encourage all women to own that part and not be afraid to say the things out loud. That's probably a little bit of the Punjabi part of me, and my mom is very outspoken, and she was like, just do it, it's fine. You'll figure it out as you go. And real estate is that industry, you can never learn enough. You can never know everything anyways. There's always something new. There's always some new rule, new regulation, new something. But bringing yourself as a woman and the way that we were raised, I think is your greatest asset in this space.
Wonderful. That's a true Punjabi talking. born and brought up in the US, North American Punjabi.
Yeah.
Great. Sonia, what about you? You're from a similar orientation, similar. I know Canada has a lot of Punjabis as well. But what's your take on this?
So, one of the reasons I took on real estate as a career was the fact that it allows me to be me. And it gives me an edge of being an Indian, raised with the value system that we carry. So it allowed me to be true myself. So it gives you an edge for all the women who are aspiring to be realtors. It gives you a big edge to be somebody who is customer focused, who is coming from the space of serving others, of being hospitable, of being caring. And that has served me in my life as a realtor, because our role in North America, especially, and I think it'll apply everywhere, is to help clients make one of the biggest decisions, financial decisions of their life, you know, and it has to be with clarity and confidence. And that means we need to be good at the job that we have, of analyzing the market data, and understanding their long term and short term goals and where they are at in their life, in terms of family life, children, etc. And sometimes it has for me it has involved telling them that this is probably not the best time to buy or not the best time to sell. So one has to look beyond their own needs and work for the client. And so whenever we are advising and looking beyond the transaction and looking for the best interest of the client, if somebody has that mindset, this is the career for you, because you will love what you're doing and it'll pay you well too.
Were there any periods of time in your life, Sonia, that you said, "Oh my God, why did I get into real estate"?
The first 2 years were like that, because I come from corporate. I was raised as a defense personnel's daughter, so very protected environment, with heavy governance. People act in their best possible. They show up in their best possible forms. But when you are on the other side of the table, when you need something from the other people, which is what comes when you are in the business, then you see the real people because then you're on the receiving end. So the first 2 years were like that, where I had to teach myself how to read between the lines, how to take it by the stride when people are saying this, but they actually mean this. And
That happened but you spend a lot of time in the corporate environment. You mean to say that didn't happen there?
No, no. In corporate environment, there's governance. They have to act a certain way. And there is a lot of rules and regulations in place. But when they are independent in making a decision whether they want to hire you or not, as their agent, then it is free will. And there are so many other factors that play the role. What is their friend saying? What is their family member saying? What are the other pressures, society pressures? So many other nuances come into play. At that point, it is their independent decision based on so many influences that are playing a role. So in front of you, they might say, "Oh yeah, I want to work with you," but they don't really want to work with you. And then they go and work with another agent, and you find out that they are your family member, but the business didn't come to you, or they are your best friend, but the business didn't come to you. So those are like big hits that come to somebody like myself, who's emotional. I'm passionate. I am very expressive. You can see it now. So to me, it came as a big learning lesson. And I used to I used to feel bad about it and say, wow, what the hell did I do with myself? Because I quit my job at my third transaction. And because I wanted to do this well, I was scared that I'm handling somebody's thousands and hundreds and thousands of dollars. I cannot be playing around with it. So the third transaction, I told my husband it's this way or that way, and I quit my job. I was getting well paid, six-figure job, and we decided to do this. But then came a time when, so many things happen in business. When those things started to happen, that's when I used to think, why did I do it? But then it's like being pregnant, you're pregnant, you're telling yourself, what the hell did I do? And when you see the baby, you forget it all. So every time I delivered a house, or every time we were able to achieve a win, it gave me the same feeling. So now I just love it. Those were learning lessons, like any profession. I feel very confident now, and I'm doing very well.
Wonderful. No regrets then.
No regrets at all, not at all.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Meena, what about you?
I think I go through this often enough. Coming from the corporate background, I can relate to it's your job. You have to show up, you have to say what you need to say. And real estate teaches you that this is about money. And I don't know how everybody else was raised, but culturally, we don't talk about money, we don't share, we don't, my budget is approved for this, but I don't feel comfortable spending that full amount. So it's much more personal, and sometimes people don't want you to know those things about their finances. I learned the very hard way that it wasn't about me when aunties and friends and people who knew me, they've watched me grow up, didn't choose me as their agent. It's different as you become, you've done more work, you've done more transactions, but earning that credibility is you realize that sometimes it has nothing to do with you, but it's just I don't want someone's daughter to know what we're making and what our finances are. And in real estate, you become friends with your clients because you learn about their hesitations, their fears, their concerns. And sometimes you're simply not comfortable enough because you're too close. And that's something that it takes a minute. I think sometimes some people still sting a little bit many years in. But I think often you question because when you're doing it well, you're doing it the right intentions, and you're putting your clients' needs and guidance ahead of your financial benefits, you will sit there and wonder if you gave the right advice because it killed the deal, right? There's those little moments of like, well, there's my paycheck going out the door, but it's bad for my client. I have to give you the honest advice. And I usually tell people, and anytime I work with them, is I'm going to guide you and work with you as if I was working with my brother or my dad. We don't filter things. If we know you're doing something that based on what you've shared is not good for you, I'm going to say it. It's your decision what you do with it. But if I can't freely say that, I'm probably not your agent. And many times you sit there and you're like, there goes that deal. But you can sleep at night knowing that you did the right thing as a person. And I think those are those little moments that for me still never go away because a blink will go by and you're like, damn, but okay. And then you move on and you realize you earn that person's trust because you built a stronger relationship. So I think those moments still come. But I have no regrets. I left a structured corporate career. I had to learn discipline. I had to learn how to work with all different personality types, and some are mine, some are not. In this space, you get to choose who you work with, so that it's a successful relationship. But definitely, I think those fears and doubts pop in and out all the time. But you navigate them, and you get stronger and better.
Absolutely. I earlier in the conversation with Karlie, I remember her saying that, one of her mentors mentioned that when you show a house to somebody, your success is going to be when you can identify and tell the home buyer all the defects of the house. Point them out so that nobody can point it back at you saying that, hey, you didn't show me this, or I didn't make a choice with my eyes wide open. And I think that's a wonderful thing. That's exactly what you're saying also, that, tell them about everything. And then after that, it's their decision. But be honest, have the integrity, have the transparency of telling them what they need to know. And they need to know everything about the house if there's any problem, because that is probably the largest investment that they've made till date. It's their savings, their life saving that's going into it. And if you cannot empathize with that, then you don't need to be in the real estate industry.
Correct. No, we agree with you.
So great.
We're
Thank you.
nodding. Full agreement.
Absolutely. But thanks again very much for taking our time. I know you guys are busy, and you've taken our time on a very special day in a very special month. Thanks once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it.
Firstly, thank you for being on episode 3 of season 2 of the real estate of real estate. Go exponential with Sam. Um, it's an absolute pleasure to have you young ladies with me, um, both from Maharashtra. You know, Lavina, who is a new entrant in EXP, Kirti, who is part of the National Association of Realtors, their Pune a local our Pune local association, and she's done really well, been the president of the association, and of course been their representative on the NAR India board as well. Now I know a lot about you both of you, but I'd love to start this with hearing your personal journeys. Uh, Kirti, I know, by the way, you're doing something on Instagram which is 350 or 60 days
65
old.
days challenge. Oh my God.
The 365 days. So I would love to know about that also. But let's start firstly with your personal journey.
Okay.
Start from right before you came into real estate. What were you doing? Then you came into real estate, and how have you evolved over this passage of time? So start with you.
Okay. So I'm Kirti Bhosle. I am real estate consultant from Pune, India, and I'm in this industry from last 25 years. Actually, my journey in real estate started when I began working with different real estate brands and developers. In the early stage of my career, I was mainly involved in sales and marketing, which gave me opportunity to interact with clients and understand their needs. Over a period of time, I realized that building relationships and guiding clients in their property decision was something I truly enjoying. After working with almost various brands for last 18 years, I started thinking why not creating my own brand. So in 2018, I founded my own firm Kirti Associate in Pune. In the beginning, it was not very easy for me because I did not have a big infrastructure or a large team. But I believed strongly in hard work, building trust with clients. One of the most challenging phases came during COVID-19 pandemic. At that time, we were working on a large mandate project, and we had already generated good bookings, but suddenly almost 50% of the bookings were cancelled due to the uncertainty in the market. So it was a difficult period because real estate is a relationship based business where meeting clients personally is very important. And during that time, we couldn't even step outside our homes. But the builder was very supportive and motivated me during that bad phase, which helped me stay positive and continue my journey. Along with my business journey, I have also been actively involved in industry organization. As Sam has introduced, I am a part of my local association, Professional Realtors of Pune. Last 4 years, I have served as a honorary secretary, which gave me the opportunity to work closely with many professionals, like-minded people in Pune real estate market. I was also honored to serve as a women's wing chairwoman of NAR India, as well as president of NAR India. I am very proud that I was a first vice president of NAR India. Through this platform, I've got exposure to leaders from different states of India as well as international real estate professionals. That exposure helped me learn a lot about leadership, networking, and global real estate practices. So this is my journey.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lovely journey, Kirti. You've really done well for yourself. So, and it's good to interact with you every time we meet at the
Same here, Sam.
NAR events.
Yes.
Absolutely. So over to you, Lavina. Lavina, I know that you're a professional architect. You've moved from architecture into real estate. I know you're very strategy and vision oriented person. You make great business models. And you're an outgoing person. I've seen in a short span in the real estate transaction business, you've moved places. So why don't you tell us your journey from the beginning, and tell us how you moved from one part of the industry in real estate, which is design and development, into transactions, and also how you found those key accounts. You only name them, I don't want to name them, but the special accounts that you work with, which almost nobody even, it's a barrier or a glass ceiling which most men can't break through, and you have, and nothing to say, I'm not being discriminative, but I'm saying I'm in awe how you have been able to crack open the ceiling or break the ceiling, and reach different places across India. So over to you, Lavina.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much for saying such good things about me. So,
All true.
yeah, I would just like to say here that my journey when I qualified as an architect, I never imagined that, I would actually get into the construction side. So I was just hoping that I would be doing designing. But as luck would have it, I got my first opportunity, working with a huge corporate, that's Indian Navy. So I'm working with defense services since the last 13 years of my career. And I have broken such glass ceilings that I don't think any women in India or SAARC countries have broken. I have designed interiors of 11 warships, and that's a very
Can you
huge,
imagine?
yeah.
Amazing. It's awe-inspiring. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you're working with defense services, you learn certain things. That is your integrity, your discipline, and no errors, no mistakes, no margins for errors. That's what I learned over there. Eventually, they started giving me construction work, which I started doing. And I have constructed quite many buildings for them and all prestigious projects. And then after that, I think life just happened. And my parents fell sick. I wanted to take care of them. And life became very quiet. I was after what was demanded of me. So I just left everything for quite a number of years. And now then I thought I should come back. And when I'm coming back, now this time again, I didn't want to go into the execution site of the building. So I thought, let me get to the human side where sales happens, where you meet people. And so it was very exciting for me. And when I came to this industry, I can tell you, this is a very different ball game from what I was doing. There I was ordering around 400, 500 workers under me. And here it's very different from what I had thought. But nonetheless, it's very exciting when you develop strategies. Again, I wanted to use the things that I'd used in Navy, that carve a niche for yourself where no one else is there. So I'll tell you one of my dreams. I love this business of where no women has gone before. I love that concept. So I wanted to make bunkers along the border side because no women has done it. So I was very excited, didn't get an opportunity, followed up so much. So now here again, when I see in India, it's a male dominated society. Very few women are there, unlike our foreign countries. And here when I came in, I thought I should make a difference somehow. So I started going after very niche categories, like I organized camps in the defense sector, and I got good results as well. That is one thing I did. Now I'm into a very different category wherein I'm doing pre-leased offices. which if you see, it's a very, very lucrative offer because your property is there and it's already leased, it's earning you revenues, and that is when you have taken it. So for the whoever is buying it, it's a win-win situation. For the banker who's going to finance it, that's a very big win-win because the rent goes directly to them. So zero chances of, defaulting. So I really wanted to create a niche over there. There is one more sector I'm looking at. I have been working in construction for 13 years, so I didn't want to let go of that. So I'm looking at somewhat of a real estate thing wherein I hold seminars, I call societies who want to get into redevelopment and be the mediator, or you can say the matchmaker. So that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Fantastic. Excellent. So, Kirti, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Obviously the Indian real estate market is evolving rapidly, and women entrepreneurs like yourself are playing a growing role in shaping the evolution.
Okay.
What do you recommend to young women who want to become entrepreneurs, or to those employed in companies? Maybe they're in the real estate developer's office. Maybe they are, working for a real estate uh, international property consultant. If they want to become entrepreneurs, what would your message and what would your sort of guidance be to them?
I think, Sam, this is a very interesting question. I keep on doing this thing regularly throughout my journey. So, I believe real estate is a wonderful profession for women because it is built on relationships, communication, and understanding people. Women naturally bring qualities like empathy, patience, and even strong relationship building skills, which are extremely valuable in this industry. My advice to any woman who wants to enter real estate would be to believe in herself and stay always consistent. In the beginning, the journey may feel like a roller coaster round or a challenging because building credibility and trust takes huge time. It's not a one day job. Real estate also gives women the opportunity to become entrepreneurs, build their own brand, and create their own path in the industry. I will add one more thing. Challenges are part of every business, but if you stay committed, keep learning, and surround yourself with supportive people, you will definitely always find a way to move forward.
Wonderful, beautifully said. Lavina, what are your thoughts on, I know that you've been an entrepreneur for most of your, in fact, I would say all your life, but what would your advice be to those that want to move from a secure paycheck to an unsecure, however, with the, a possibility of a much larger bounty that they could get on a monthly and a annual basis?
I really love this question whenever someone asks me this. And I would like to say here that it maybe for many it is a gamble because you're giving away your paycheck and you're jumping into something that is not predictable.
Yeah.
So I feel ki yes, you need a very strong personality to do that, and until you're convinced of it, it's very difficult. But then I would also say that life has always been a gamble in anything that you do. So if you take it that way, take it as a challenge. I feel that it is more rewarding than a job any day. In a job, you expect a certain kind of paycheck and that you get every month. But I feel what's the fun? And here, if you do transaction, today I have done 2, tomorrow I can do 20. Who's to stop me? So I feel your journey becomes very rewarding if you really, really work hard and get a grip of things. And if you really plan yourself very consistently and in a very disciplined manner, you can really, really grow in such a way that that is unimaginable, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of where you come from. I feel that is one thing that we have to think. As women, we have a lot of empathy. We have that listening power, which is very important for every client that we go to in real estate, because we know that it is his hard earned money. We understand the troubles that he'll go to in case the project stops or
So
in case
true.
of any other eventuality. So I think women becomes very good entrepreneurs if in real estate if they really develop this skill set.
So true. So true. Absolutely. Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you very much. You guys have made this episode wonderful. The very fact that we could have all 8 of you come together on on a very special episode, because this is the International Women's Day month. It is also today is the World Realtors Day, 21st of March, and you've been really great guests, and some wonderful answers, some great inspiration from all of you. Thank you once again for being with me on my show. Take care. See you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Wow, this is great. As we bring this conversation to a close, I want to thank each of our guests for sharing their journey with such honesty and insight. Listening to these stories remind us that real estate is not simply about transactions. It is about people, trust, and relationships. And when women bring their empathy, resilience, and integrity into this profession, they elevate the entire industry. My hope is that conversations like this will inspire more women to see real estate not just as a career, but as a platform where they can build meaningful and successful businesses. And perhaps one day soon, we will see the day when half the realtors in India are women. When that happens, our industry will become stronger for it. In the end, I wish to thank the audience, all the women in our lives, and all the realtors we have and will encounter in our business dealings. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Real Estate of Real Estate Go Exponential with Sam.